The Open is this week. Very excited. I will be there tomorrow, somewhere around the driving range, making life miserable for the pros, getting ready to play at Pinehurst number 2. It is the 4th U.S. Open in 25 years. At Pinehurst, 99, Payne Stewart, 2005, Michael Campbell, 2014, Martin. I just made him a hockey player. Martin Keimer, and who knows, in 2024, Jason Sobel, brand ambassador, MGM, just like Victoria is, and joins us, also SiriusXM, man about town, my friend. How is it possible that Scottie Scheffler is plus money at this Open? How come it's not Scottie versus the field at this point?
It can't be Scottie versus the field. First of all, Adam, before we get to Scottie, we got to get to us because you're having me on over the phone. I'm walking down the 9th hole at Pinehurst number 2 right now, doing my show from the range in just a little bit, about an hour from now, and you're going to be over at the range tomorrow. Why are we not doing this tomorrow? We could have figured that out. In any case, I'm here now. Scottie Scheffler, 3-1 to win this week. Look, I don't know. It's kind of taking a little bit of the fun out of golf betting, quite honestly. And I'm the biggest proponent of golf betting there is.
Right.
But you look at it and you go, I don't really want to bet Scottie at that number, but I don't really want to bet anyone else because Scottie's going to win.
That's right.
So it's a conundrum. You're like, I don't know what to do.
But it's free money. But the way I look at it, because the number has come down. Yesterday it was at plus 320. That's what I saw. Today I see plus 280. So obviously people are going, wait a second, I can get Scottie at plus anything. Might as well, because the way he is playing, and I was talking with Curtis Strange about this yesterday. Scottie hits his ball flag high more than any other player on tour, and to me, that's the number one. That to me is the number one element here. You must be flag high, and if you are, you're going to have birdie looks. You don't even have to putt great. I think Scottie to me is. I mean, only the Moore County Police, I'll use the joke again, only the Moore County Police can step in the way.
I will put it this way, Adam. At the beginning of the year, I took all the tournaments, took all the players, tried to slot each player for a tournament that I thought they would play well. I had Scottie Scheffler. This is before the 5 wins, before he's extended his lead as number 1 in the world, before all the great plays he's had this year. And I had Scottie Scheffler for the U.S. Open here at Pinehurst. Like, I felt like this was a perfect fit for him. And now he comes in red hot, wins every single time he tees it up. I'm not moving away from that. So I still like Scottie this week. I just don't see how he's not in the mix, not near the top of the leaderboard, if not winning by 6 this week. I mean, he could just make a mockery of this thing. Yeah,
he could do what Martin Keimer did 10 years ago. Jason Sobel, brand ambassador. MGM Sirius XM at Jason Sobel Golf. Now on Twitter, we have a new Twitter handle. It's wonderful. All right, let me ask you about players not named Scottie Scheffler. I kind of get the feeling that the guy who was the biggest challenger last week is the most likely player not named Scottie Scheffler to win.
I really like it. I see some parallels. Sometimes we do all our research, Adam, and we're studying up all the stats. We're looking at everything, and we have to dive deep into all the numbers to figure out who we like. Other times, it's right in front of us and bangs us over the head with it. Just a few months ago, at the Arnold Palmer Invitational, Scottie and Wyndham Clark finished 1-2. The very next week at the Players' Championship, they finished 1-2 again. Would not be surprised to see a very similar scenario this week with Scottie and Colin Morikawa. He's playing some great golf. My colleague Will Haskett interviewed him after the round on Sunday at Muirfield Village, said, I've never seen anyone as upbeat and optimistic after losing as Colin Morikawa was. So he's very pleased with the way his game is trending right now.
I mean, and here's another guy that in terms of, not necessarily tee to green, but approach shots is one of the best on tour. Xander Schauffele is also up in all of these statistical measures. Here's another guy who obviously won the PGA and has been playing great. Didn't play great on the weekend at Memorial, but here's another guy. And here's my question. Why do they hate Rory McIlroy so much to put him with Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele? Are they just trying to rub it in?
Same group that we saw at Augusta National a couple of months ago for the first 2 days, and they're going to run it back. Look, they got 1, 2, 3 in the world. That's been done in the past, so I like it. It's obviously a featured group this week. as far as Xander, I mentioned Scottie. Look, this is a great course for him. I had him targeted here even before he started winning. Xander Schauffele, if you look at it, I know he won the PGA Championship, but you go back, the U.S. Open has been his best major championship. I believe 7 or 8 career starts, nothing worse than 14th place. So he's been right there every single time he's played one of these. I'm a big believer in once you play well at USGA championships, you tend to play well at them year after year for the most part. And so I think he's absolutely going to be a factor this week as well. I know I'm talking about all these guys near the top that I like. I have to give you somebody that I don't like, and I'll pick out Rory McIlroy.
Yep.
I think that there's a little something there that's not quite right now. He's not playing poor enough that we go, what's wrong with Rory? But he's not quite playing as well as he was at the Zurich and at Quail Hollow before the PGA Championship, where he won both of those events.
I mean, it's hard to put your finger on it. Like, the way he played at Quail Hollow, I thought was going to be a jumping off point. As it turns out, it looks like a peak, and that's obviously not good. He just can't control his irons in terms of his distance. He's got the lefts suddenly. It is not a good place to be just a little bit off because as good a chipper and not a putter, but as good a chipper and a short game as he's got, it's going to put a lot of pressure on that if he misses a ton of greens. In your piece that I was reading yesterday, your top 10 best bets, there are a couple of names that I really like, including Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah, I'm starting to like Tommy Fleetwood more and more as I'm walking this golf course. It is going to be a ball striker's golf course. Look, the fairways are wider than pretty much any U.S. Open that we've seen recently other than Erin Hills. So you're not going to miss too many fairways. You need to keep your ball somewhere just in the middle of the green. Like my advice, I mean, if one of these players walked up to me and asked for my advice, which they never would, but my advice would be just hit it in the middle of the greens because you start trying to get a little too aggressive. In fact, Victor Hovland said this earlier today. He said, you've got to be aggressive off the tee but conservative into the greens. And so that's what's going to win you this golf tournament. That's what's going to get you on this leaderboard, just being conservative and grinding out pars. If a birdie comes, you take it, but if you try to bite off more than you can chew and try to go at some flag sticks that are tucked this week, you're going to get yourself into a lot of trouble.
Tiger Woods plus 225 to make the cut? Really?
I kind of like it. I kind of like that. Look, there's never been or never going to be a better scenario for Tiger at this stage in his career than what he's looking at this week. You think about it, first of all, this is not Augusta National. It's not even Valhalla. It's not an easy walk, but it's a fairly flat golf course. I mean, It's not terrible as far as the wear and tear on his body. It's going to be hot out, 85, 90 degrees every single day. And look, for as much as Tiger in his prime could go as low as anybody and would win golf tournaments shooting 18, 20 under par, now being able to grind out pars, using his ball striking, using his creativity around the greens, and just making pars, I feel like this is a great scenario for Tiger right now that if he's ever going to make a cut, if he's ever going to get himself at least somewhat in the mix, look, I'm not going to say he's going to win or anything like that or even contend, but he's going to be around for 4 days. This feels like a great scenario for him to do it.
Also, if you think about it, this golf course, I was just out there a couple of weeks ago for Media Day. The greens, the part of the greens that they can use, because so much of the greens are deceptive because there are fall-offs everywhere, they're relatively small putting surfaces, and while they're not necessarily really flat, there's not a lot of severity to them once you get into the usable parts. So there shouldn't be a lot of 3 or 4 putts out there unless you're really bad.
I wouldn't think so, but I do see, I mean, I was walking around. I see some slopiness to these greens, to use a term that might not really exist. But I think these are not quite as flat as, I don't know, maybe you're just a better putter than I am. But
wow.
I don't think these are quite as easy as you're making them out to be. I see some
piece of cake
out here. These things are going to be running 14, 15 on the stim meter, if not even more by the time we get to this weekend. So you might be a better putter than most of the guys in the field, but I think guys are going to struggle on the greens a little bit.
I am definitely not a better putter than most of the guys in the field. All right, all right. So give me some other guys. What are your thoughts on guys that we have seen play well in majors this year? Bryson DeChambeau has been really good in both majors. He was right there at the PGA. He had some issues, like on the back nine. I think it was Saturday at Augusta that took him out of it. But Bryson has played really well in the two majors so far. What kind of chance do you give him?
I don't love Bryson on this golf course. He talks about having to play boring golf, and I just don't know if that's in his DNA. I think he wants to go out there and bomb and gouge and play exciting golf and hit it as far as he can, and I'm not sure that's the strategy. And I don't think he believes that's the strategy that can work this week. So I don't love him, but I will say I was just walking the golf course with my colleague Carl Paulson, and Carl seems to really like him this week. So, look, I can certainly see it happening, but Bryson's more of a fade for me. Some of the other guys that I like this week, I've been talked into Russell Henley. I don't know that he can win. He doesn't win very often, but I think he's going to be up there on the leaderboard. Sungjae Im is starting to play some good golf right now. We mentioned Tommy Fleetwood. So those are some of the names. You go back and look at the U.S. Open leaderboards over the last few years, and even in the top 10, there aren't a whole lot of guys you go, ooh, that's a surprise. How'd that guy finish in the top 10 at a U.S. Open? For the most part, even if it's not the biggest names and the best players, it's mostly guys that we know and guys that play the PGA Tour at a very high level.
I know you like to at least be in the top 20. Akshay Bhatia, who's a local kid to Raleigh, I'm sure has played down at Pinehurst number 2 a bunch. I think he is, 450 to be in the top 20. What do you think about Justin Thomas, who for all of his poor play, if you will, or poor finishes this year, checks all the approach shots boxes? He's got good proximity, greens in regulation. All of that stuff is good for him. I'm guessing that he just has putted poorly this year.
Yeah, the putter has not been great for JT. I'm not sure you can go find it on this golf course. Look, I'm not sure there's another player. Maybe JT and his buddy Jordan Spieth are the two at the top of the list that I just kind of throw my hands up and I go, I don't know. Like, if they win this week, either one of those guys, I'd go, yeah, I could see that. That's certainly possible. If they miss the cut this week, I'd say, yeah, see that too. I just don't know exactly what to think about either one of those guys right now. I think they're both very hard to try to figure out where their games are and try to gauge exactly what that progress is that they've made.
All right, real quick. You like Max Homa this week?
I do. I think Max Homa is starting to play better at the major championships. Couple of top 10s in his last 3 major starts, and so I think Max can have a really good week here.
All right, here's my dark horse to contend, probably not win, Tom Hoagie.
Ball striking is so good right now. I mean, he reminds me of a Corey Connors that,
it's another pick.
The putter gets moderately warm. It doesn't need to get hot. It just has to get lukewarm. He can contend because the ball striking is so good, but I wonder about the short game a little bit.
Yeah, that's always going to be an issue on the bold Donald Ross greens. Jason Sobel, I'll come say hi tomorrow.
Please do.
I don't know why I just didn't want to bug you on a Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Bug me on a Tuesday instead.
Exactly.
You never bug me.
I'll talk to you later, man. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
You got it, Jason Sobel.